Now, the risk of a future pandemic was, as you've already made reference to, prioritised as a Tier 1 risk and remained as such, did it not, throughout your time in office? One of the highest risks that the United Kingdom faced. And although you tell us at paragraph 12 in your report that it was a pandemic that was prioritised as a Tier 1 risk, in fact, it was more discreet than that. It was an influenza pandemic, wasn't it?
That's right. I mean, I think this is maybe getting ahead of myself, but when I look at all of this and read all the papers and thought so much about what subsequently happened and the horrors of the COVID pandemic, and let me say the massive sympathy I feel for all those who've lost loved ones, and for the suffering people have felt, and the importance of this inquiry's work to get to the bottom of the decisions that were made, decisions that could have been made, and the preparations for the future. This is the thing I keep coming back to, which is the pandemic was a Tier 1 risk. Pandemics were looked at, but there was this, the former Chief Medical Officer, Sally Davis, has said it was a group thing. Much more time was spent on pandemic flu and the dangers of pandemic flu rather than on potential pandemics of other more respiratory diseases like COVID turned out to be. And
yes.
I think this is so important because so many consequences follow from that. And I've been sort of wrestling with, well, why, I think the architecture was good. National Security Council, National Security Advisor, the risk register, and also this new security risk assessment, which was perhaps a bit more dynamic. But that's what I keep coming back to, is so much time was spent on a pandemic influenza, and that was seen as the greatest danger, and we've had flus, we had very bad years for flus, so it is a big danger, but why wasn't more time and more questions asked about what turned out to be the pandemic that we faced? And it's very hard to answer why that's the case, and I'm sure this public inquiry is going to spend a lot of time on that.
Yes, because